Why is it that we often fail to begin our most important tasks, even when we have a clear understanding of exactly what we need to do? Why do some individuals act decisively before they feel ready, while many others wait for a state of perfection that simply never arrives? Could it be that failure is not a lack of innate talent, but simply the deeply ingrained and self-limiting habit of chronic inaction? We often fall into the trap of believing that more knowledge and more preparation are the absolute prerequisites for our ultimate and lasting success. However, modern academic research points in a completely different direction, challenging our traditional views on the necessity of planning. A groundbreaking study from Harvard Business School reveals that individuals who choose to act immediately are far more likely to succeed than those who wait. In fact, the data shows that their probability of achieving complex goals is approximately 2.5 times higher than those who focus only on planning. This highlights that imperfect action is significantly more valuable to our growth than even the most meticulously crafted but ultimately stagnant and inactive plan. Furthermore, influential research conducted at MIT identifies immediate execution as one of the single strongest predictors of superior long-term performance and achievement. The MIT data demonstrates that if a productive action is delayed by more than 24 hours, the overall probability of execution drops precipitously. This scientific finding confirms a vital truth. Success in the modern age is determined not by the depth of knowledge, but by speed. The speed of implementation is the primary differentiator and the most significant gap between those who merely dream and those who actually achieve. We live in an era with unprecedented access to global information, yet we find ourselves hesitating more than any other generation in human history. On average, we consume over 6 hours of digital content daily, yet our actual productivity remains strikingly low compared to our massive consumption. Less than half of the time we spend consuming information is used for actual productive action, creating a massive and dangerous execution gap in life. The OECD officially reports that modern decision fatigue has increased by over 40% compared to the levels seen in previous decades of history. As our available options multiply, our cognitive ability to take decisive action paradoxically decreases, a psychological phenomenon known as the paradox of choice. We do not fail because we lack the knowledge of what to do. We fail because we know too much to actually move. The greatest obstacle to our personal progress is not ignorance, but the heavy weight of excess information and the paralysis of modern perfectionism. Perfectionism is often just a highly sophisticated and deceptive form of procrastination that prevents us from ever crossing the initial start line of action. Let us now discuss the core insight. The fundamental difference between high achievers and others is the narrow gap between decision and immediate action. Rigorous research from Stanford suggests that high achievers tend to take their first action within 5 seconds of having a significant new idea or inspiration. Taking even a small, symbolic action within those critical first 5 seconds can effectively break the psychological cycle of hesitation and self-doubt forever. In sharp contrast, those who hesitate often spend over an hour overanalyzing the same idea until the initial spark of inspiration completely vanishes. Action is not merely the final result of our thoughts. It is the essential catalyst that shapes the very nature of our future thinking. Great and lasting success is not born from one massive decision, but from the quiet accumulation of many small, immediate, and consistent actions. To understand this principle even better, let us look at the great and timeless lessons from the vast annals of documented human history. Julius Caesar changed the course of history the moment he chose to cross the Rubicon, reaching a definitive point of no return for Rome. Despite the immense political risks and complex calculations, he chose immediate and decisive action over the safety of endless and cautious deliberation. That single, bold choice did not just change his own life. It fundamentally and permanently altered the entire course of Western civilization and history. His historic decision was not based on having perfect preparation, but on the courage to execute in the face of profound and life-threatening uncertainty. Even in ancient times, the world was reshaped by moments of decisive action, not just by the depth of quiet and isolated thought. Centuries later, Napoleon Bonaparte emphasized that the speed of execution was the most critical and decisive weapon in the art of war. He believed that moving faster than the enemy was far more important for victory than having an intellectually perfect but slow strategy. His legendary victories were the direct result of his refusal to hesitate for even a moment once a strategic decision had been reached. In our modern era, the battle for personal and professional success is still won through speed, rather than through pure strategic or intellectual depth. In the fast-paced environment of Silicon Valley, the prevailing mantra is that a fast release is always better than a perfect but late product. Studies show that companies that enter the market first tend to secure over 60% more market share than their later followers. Founders who have experienced early failure and acted on it have a 30% higher success rate in their subsequent business ventures. In our modern and hyper-connected society, the sheer ability to act quickly is itself a primary and powerful form of strategic competitiveness. Speed allows us to seize rare opportunities before they vanish forever, turning our abstract potential into a tangible and successful reality. Let us now summarize the core message of this masterclass. True success does not begin with preparation, it begins with action. Many people wait their entire lives for the perfect moment to arrive, but the profound truth is that such a moment simply does not exist. The most important thing you can do is to stop overthinking and start doing right here and right now without any further delay. Ultimately, the person who produces the greatest results is not the smartest or most talented, but the one who moves the fastest. Consider the profound transformation you will experience once you finally adopt the life-changing habit of taking immediate and decisive action. You will move far beyond the restrictive confines of your own thoughts and begin to create a solid structure for rapid personal growth. By embracing direct experience over abstract theory, you will learn to grow through your failures rather than living in constant fear of them. You will transition from being someone who waits for opportunities to someone who actively and intentionally creates them through your own actions. This is not just a minor change in your behavior. It is a fundamental and permanent shift in the very speed of your entire life. Ultimately, it is not our silent thoughts that change the world, but the courageous actions we choose to take in the face of challenge. Remember, a perfect plan protects you from the unknown, but an imperfect action is what actually moves you forward into the future. While others are still busy planning and calculating, the person who acts has already crossed the finish line and moved on to the next goal. I invite you to expand your thinking through the humanities and the deep intellectual insights shared by Dr. Jong-Moon Ko in his works. If you found this masterclass valuable, please subscribe and like this video to continue this journey of intellectual and personal growth together. May your personal journey be filled with many moments of decisive action and meaningful success. I wish you all the very best in life. To truly master the art of action, we must first understand the complex psychological mechanisms that often keep us paralyzed in place. Our brains are biologically hardwired to prioritize safety, often interpreting new and bold actions as potential threats to our survival and comfort. By acting quickly, we effectively bypass the brain's primitive fear response, allowing our rational and modern mind to take the lead in our life. Momentum is the most powerful and transformative force in personal development. Once you start moving, it becomes infinitely easier to continue. Celebrate even your smallest wins, as they provide the essential dopamine necessary to sustain long-term and positive behavioral change in your life. The true and hidden cost of inaction is not just missed opportunity, but the slow and steady erosion of our own self-confidence and agency. When you choose to act, you reclaim your personal agency and become the active, intentional designer of your own unique and meaningful destiny. Let us now delve deeper into why the depth of our intellectual thought must always be matched by the depth of our active engagement with life. Philosophy is not just an abstract academic pursuit. It is a practical and powerful tool for navigating the daily complexities of human existence. We find true meaning in life not in our silent intentions or plans, but in the bridges we build and the positive impact we have on others. A true master of their craft understands that excellence is not an act, but a habit formed through consistent, deliberate, and daily execution. The legacy we ultimately leave behind is defined by the courageous and decisive actions we took when the moment truly mattered most to the world. In this incredibly fast-paced modern world, your ability to execute is your most valuable and irreplaceable intellectual and economic asset. The world is waiting for your unique and necessary contribution. Do not let another moment slip away in hesitation or fear of failure. Take that first important step right now. The journey of 1,000 miles truly does begin with a single, small, and decisive act of will. Join the conversation with hashtags action, execution, success strategy, self-improvement, habit change, and leadership. Search for how to act now, building execution habits, overcoming procrastination, and the Dr. James Ko Masterclass. I am Jongmoon Ko, also known as James Ko. Please reach out to me at k90391198@gmail.com for collaboration. Expand your thinking through the humanities. I wish you constant growth and success in all your endeavors.